Welcome back to Closing Bell West Africa. Now moving on to our next conversation. The Nigerian government says its broadband penetration rose to 44.5% in July from 40.9% in the month of February. What role can private sector players play in achieving the national broadband target of 70% by the year 2025? And I have Kendall Ananyi, the founder of CEO of TIZETI. He joins me now for this discussion. Thank you so much for your time today, Kendall. And looking at the penetration numbers there is still a lot of room for growth, you say?
There's room for a lot of internet providers to play in the space and help the government reach their target by 2025.
All right, but I'd like you to speak to the opportunity you see in this space, and especially more or less in the core areas of concentration to get the most output.
Okay, so right now, the major cities, so Lagos, Rivers State, and Abuja, are covered at dense, you can get broadband everywhere. But once you go to the other 33 states, you then have, you rely only on your mobile phone, which we know is data capped. And so you're limited in how much you can use the internet in those states. So there's room for internet providers to not compete, but complement the work by the telcos or MNOs, and then provide an option where you can use internet in your home or office at a cheaper amount, because obviously the technology and the cost of deploying those kinds of network is cheaper, and then you can then provide internet cheaper and make it more affordable to folks in those places.
We're talking about being more affordable. In your assessment of the industry, we've seen a lot of this submarine cables come on board more recently, talking about promising more or less cheaper internet down the line. And more or less, what do you make of this development, or more or less, and how can we get better pricing dynamics out of this industry?
So we have a lot of cables. I've lost count on how many cables. There's the Quayano that just landed. There's To Africa by Facebook that's coming down the road. But the real problem is not just getting to the beach and where the submarine cable lands, right? It's actually taking the internet to the users. And that's where you need middle mile and last mile infrastructure to get to the consumer. So when the consumer hears more cables, it seems like, oh, okay, they're going to get more bandwidth. But that's not the case, because still additional work and investments needs to go into getting the internet from those locations to the user. And that's where TIZETI actually shines, because we build our own infrastructure that connects to any of the submarine cables. Primarily for us is main one, and then rely on their infrastructure to get to our towers, and then we can then beam internet to the homes and offices of our customers.
Yeah, because now I'm looking at a company like yours, TIZETI. You've done about 10 years in the industry now. And more or less a growth journey for an organization like yours. I'm trying to imagine, because I see now you're looking to explore the capital markets more, to raise some capital. I'm trying to understand what form this is going to take.
Okay, so we're hoping to raise both equity, a mix of equity and debt. But so far we're debt-free. We've been able to grow to where we are in 5 states with no debt. And then we're now in a position where we know that there's no more experimentation. We're in growth phase. We're being profitable for a number of years. We believe that we can then tap both the equity and debt markets locally or internationally to fund our next phase of growth.
But in terms of timelines, what can we anticipate?
So over the next 4 to 5 months, we should get on the road, and that's about the timing for it. So we're just commencing it. We're going to clear regulatory.
Okay, because earlier you're talking about your, more or less, you're in 5 states in Nigeria, and you're looking to get capital to expand more. But I also understand that there's some expansion already in the works already, that you're looking to get into more countries in West Africa, and also even expand across more states here in Nigeria, and even Ghana, where you're looking at. But speak to these plans, and more or less, I'd like to hear more around the opportunity you see in the Francophone West Africa space, because I understand that you're also looking to go into Togo and Cote d'Ivoire.
Okay, so at the highest level, we want to be Africa's #1 internet service provider. So just providing service in Nigeria will not make us #1, even though Nigeria has, 200 million people, right? So we're one of the top ISPs in Nigeria. We've executed in Nigeria, and we've been able to prove that our model works beyond other ISPs who have stopped in Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja. So we're now in Lagos, we're now in Ogun, or your Edo, which you term as Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. And then we want to do more of that. So we want to go to 10 more states, some in South, Southeast, and in the north, and part of Nigeria. We're able to do that because the equity we raised in the past, we've been able to scale profitable and have multiple years of profitability. But that's not the only thing we've done. We've also done in Ghana, we also reached profitability at the end of last year, and we broke even at the end of last year, and we now have 2 successive quarters of profitability in Ghana. So both subsidiaries are now profitable. And so that way, whatever capital, free cash flow we've generated from both subsidiaries, we can then use it to expand. And so in order for us to expand, while we're looking at English-speaking African countries, we want to also cross that language barrier with Francophone Africa and establish a French HQ. And that's where we picked Abidjan. And why Abidjan is also a good location is because we want 2 lands in Abidjan, and so we can buy wholesale capacity in Lagos and then use it just like we've done in Ghana, in Abidjan, in Cote d'Ivoire. And then secondly, Quen also, if you remember, Quen landed in Togo, and also before getting to Lagos, and now just a few days ago in South Africa. And so that opens up the market in Togo, which is a much smaller market, but is also can benefit from additional providers there. There are not that many internet providers there, just telcos. So with that 2-pronged approach, by setting up our French HQ, we can then tap the French market, which also hasn't seen as crazy as devaluation on the FX side as the other, Nigeria and Ghana, which we are. And so that kind of hedges our risk on the...
Because I was going to get to that, and more or less how you're adapting what you've learned so far in terms of the market that you are in into these new markets that you're going to be playing in.
So, so what we've learned over the couple of years we've been in Nigeria and Ghana, we've seen the exchange rate go lower than we expected, like really low in the last couple of months. And so we're also seeing that there's a little bit more stability on the French side of things. And so that would help us overall hedge all of our FX risk, even though we don't have a lot of FX in our business. We don't have I already told you we don't have no loan. But just having this multiple currencies and having multiple markets we can branch into, we can then at the consolidated level have a more profitable venture, which with more stability on when we convert to the currency of our HQ, which is the US dollars.
All right, then all the best as you go on your expansion plans. And Kendall Ananyi there is the founder and CEO of TIZETI, talking us through their plans to expand and possibly explore the capital markets for capital raising there.